Hi, YouTube. How are you doing? I'm doing really good. It's such a beautiful day here. I can't complain. I mean, I could, but I'm sure not going to. Oh, it's like, well, wait, let me see. It's 81, 2, 82 in the shade. Can't beat that. I'm going to share a link tonight. Lady Babylon, Dr. Almond, or AC Allman. I don't know if he prefers being called the doctor anymore because he's turned his back on the institutions of higher education in our country because they're taking out language and arts and different skills that younger people could benefit from in our lives, especially reading old texts and that type of thing. So I'm not sure, but I still consider him, I mean, not just a philologist, but into virology and actually a doctrine, medical doctor. Um, so I still think of him as a doctor. And it's just like with uh, Dr. Sam Vaknin, and he's a psychologist and he's got a PhD in physics. And so, I mean, just these people that I share a lot of their videos, they're not just masters in one area. They've mastered several. It's like with Alman, he doesn't just know ancient Greek, but he actually knows the Latin. And it's said that he doesn't know Hebrew. Well, when you live in Israel for a year and you're reading texts that um, correlate with the Greek and its Hebrew, you're going to learn, just like I did, a certain amount of Hebrew, like in comparison. There's like Israel News Live. He's not a native born Israelite, Hebrew speaking man. This is somebody that does just like anybody else. Comparison right there. But that isn't what Alman does. He actually speaks these languages fluently, and he may not be as fluent in Hebrew as somebody that lives in Israel, but he certainly can communicate in that language. So I heard people put him down in that area. It's like, yeah, you better just back up on your, because he probably knows a whole lot more than what's going to be said or what has been said. Tonight, his live stream is called, it's a special, let's see what it's called. Blah, just a minute. Special show, The Devil's Reckoning. And I was thinking about the word reckon. It's really cool to think in your thoughts, if you know language really well, how far back you can go with the word reckon to determine, decipher, to estimate. When you get like, okay, you can reckon on something, um, and it, I mean, as far as a human being reckoning something, um, you might not be, you might not have enough information to do your reckoning, is what I'm trying to say. That means to, um, uh, it's almost like reverse engineering, um, to get down to your bottom line, if you see what I'm saying, in language. So it's going to be really interesting what the devil's reckoning is, um, through the scriptures and the texts and what he's going to be reading. And I'm pretty sure that it'll probably lead to people understanding why the devil has a reckoning, what it's all about. Yeah, and I'm thinking this may be pertaining to uh, not antichrist, but or even anti-Christian and Christianity. I would call it more anti-stupid I think that's where his heart lies. I really do. I think he is so sick of all the religious orders and institutions and all of them balled up in one, playing this little control game on people, that we can stop it in its tracks if we know what's happening to us. So the next generation's trying to protect the next generations. And this man is all about what happened to the children in the past and what isn't going to happen in the future if we get our way. And that's where I'm with him 100%. When it comes to protecting the children, that's all I care about. I mean, when it really, honestly, that's the bottom line for me all the time. And I don't care who says what in any direction. It's like these people that say they're minorly attracted to children. Um, just because they change their wording on what harming a child means doesn't mean that harm didn't happen to that child. It's like these freakazoids that want to marry like 5-year olds, whether it's the same gender or whatever. These people need to be squelched, you know. So I'm absolutely with him 100% on his drive for protection of the children. And that really is the bottom line. You can just see it on his face when he's talking about these things. Um, yeah, he's seething. So am I. You should have seen me when my baby got hurt. You should have seen me a few different times in my life when it was concerning children that I was trying to protect. It's a whole nother level of, um, oh, it's a whole nother level that some people are still lucky to be sucking air. That's a nice way to put that. It's as nice as I can put it. Like I say, I'm going to share that link in here, and maybe you want to join us tonight. It's 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Um, so USA. If you're not United States, maybe you can figure out the difference. Or I think if you just click on it, it'll probably come up with your time. I'm not sure because I'm not in your area, but hopefully you can join us there and get a little deeper understanding of why a lot of people are not just divided, but actually angry about it too, because these are a lot of people that um, uh, literally studied themselves out of a religion. And that's the most sickening thing in the world. It's painful, people. It is. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't have God in your heart. It means that you're learning more about what actually is there. You know, it's like the caduceus, or I think is what you call it, or like a braxis, the dual snake. It's not one snake altogether. It's the dual staff, like the staff of medicine with the two-headed snake type of thing wrapping around the pole, you know. I think it's called. Well, I know for sure it's one depiction is Abraxas, which was actually like there was what they call like the Great Mother was even depicted with those legs that look like serpent fins or fish, that type of thing. But um anyway, different cultures trying to depict that medicine that is within people that they don't understand. It's either medicine or poison, I guess, depending on um, uh, if you have the antidote. Is it antichrist or antidote? You know? So, wow, that word dote, to dote on somebody, like to look at them like you with love, to dote on somebody. An antidote. That's just thinking about words. My mind goes like that. Like, how does that? What's an adjective? Does it correlate? Even breaking things down into verbs and nouns, and it's just like with the ancient Greek. That alone will just blow your mind. And it's so cool because you can have like a paragraph. You don't necessarily just read it like it's that paragraph. You read it as a whole thing, and um the description of what happens in the whole thing, well, you find out first who's doing it, what they're doing, and why they're doing. I don't know, and you can look at it like a whole paragraph to get that information out of it. There's no way somebody without that language skill could translate those texts. They just could not, they didn't have the technical ability of that language. It's blowing my mind. Um, the intricate ways of that language makes English look really lame. It's amazing. I'm amazed. Even comparison reading texts in Greek or Hebrew doesn't even hold a candle to learning the actual original language. It's like, wow, you know, not Paleolithic, but, pretty old language. Cheers, everybody. I found a really cool channel called Krakenford, and he goes into mythology, history, languages, and there's a tool that's computerized now that takes the migration of people, their languages, religions, myths, and whatever, and shows how one myth or language or whatever was migrated through the earth. There's actually a computer program that gives us the probability of where these things stem from and what's up with a certain thing. And it's so cool. It's all computerized now. Um, that you can find out any information about any people from around the world with this tool that was developed. So, and this Krakenford, I'll see if I can spell it. Oh, here it is right here. Crecanford. Krakenford is how he pronounces his name. I like the colors on his he's got like a banner on his YouTube channel, or on his like when his videos start up. The interesting thing about it to me is he sounds like he's in the UK, but these colors that he is using are the colors of the Weiss family crest that indicates the bloodlines of the dark cabal. So he's actually um, of the satanic blood. No, it's not satanic. The dark cabal bloodline that is starting to awaken to help itself. And I see progress in that area now, whether it's a trick or not. I'm really leery of everybody like that because I have to be, and everybody should be. You shouldn't just jump into something or someone's personality and take that as a um not to be too over trusting with people is what I'm trying to guard people against and guard myself. So if I share something, I'm not sharing it with a wholehearted message like this is a very trustworthy person that I know definitively I could stake my soul on that. I'm not ever going to do that because we can only really know ourselves. We can't actually, well, maybe we can know the depths of a person's heart or mind, but another person may not be able to like go over a barrier that another person might have within themselves, me included, that um might not, might hinder your teaching. Instead of, if I say something stupid or out of sorts or something, it's not going to actually help you advance in anything. um it could put a damper on your learning if you're not aware of people's personalities, inserting their personalities in the information that they get. You know what I mean? It's like somebody's got a bone to pick with the dark cabal, but their anger comes out through a teaching session. um may not be the best way to teach a lot of people. But then on the other hand, there's some people that do not want to learn. They've practiced their sorcery from their source for generations, that you really can't get beyond that. All you can do is give them the information, and it's in there for them. Whether or not they want to gather that, that's up to them. And that's all we can do. As like, if you have somebody you love and they're stubborn, as far as, like they're being stupid, and they are, and they're not using the Christ spirit of goodness within themselves, but they're using the demonic, dark, forceful type of attitude. um all you can do with that is present what the facts are from the original source, the All Father, and present it to them and say, this is what it is. Whether you want to buy into it or not, it's really not my concern. Or, I really don't care, because nobody really perishes. You know, just, it's like deciding what you want to do with your future. Do you want to live in degradation, or do you want things better for your soul for eternity? And it really is a decision boiling down to just that, you know. But the degradation, people were brought into that not just as slaves. This was a matter of trying to resurrect the Godhead in mankind and control that power for themselves out of using drugs. And this is thousands of years ago. This has been done especially to the children and the unsuspecting for thousands of years. I used to say hundreds, but we really have to get a grip on what it actually is, how long it's been going on, and there's millions of people in on it. It's like almost like the whole world knows something we don't know. They know, they're all together in that. We didn't say, like, and I mean by we, I just say, like I was telling Doug this morning, if you just say, like, look at it like the 144,000, that's not a whole lot of human beings out of the 8 million on the planet. 8 million, no, trillion, you know, there's 8 million in Minnesota. There's a lot of people on the planet, but there isn't too much, and if you go, it's like anybody that thinks that there's too many people on the planet need to drive across the United States, Canada, Russia, China, South America, Africa, you know, the outback in Australia, whatever. People need to drive across a major continent. And then you tell me that there isn't enough resources for everybody on the planet. Hell yes, there is. You know, in one city, there's still enough. Take a city of, we'll just say like 6 million people. There's still in a 6 mile area, there would still be 2 feet of ground for each person, and that's in an enclosed city. So if you take one continent as big as China, all the people in the world could fit on there, you know, actually. In that way of thinking, if you see what I'm saying, my math might be a little bit off, but I think I got it pretty close to what I'm trying to explain. There's plenty of land and resources for everybody. Who wants to farm? Has anybody, do you know what that's to grow anything, what that's like? Some of you, I'm sure you do, you know, but it's the ones that actually do not want to do physical labor that want other people to do that physical labor for them that we have a problem with on this planet. That's exactly what's going on. And you know what? You can't pay me enough to be somebody else's slave. You will never get anything out of me for free. I mean, I'll give, yeah, but if you try and take, you're going to have a major problem with that. It'll never be free. You'll pay for it. People have found that out too. And that's the way you should conduct your life, by the way. Give, do unto others, you know, like they do to you, and even do more up front. But the minute you see something that's not an equal amount of give and take, they owe you. They're indebted at that point, period. No matter who they think they are, you know. So like always, I'm sure the translations of Greek that you will hear tonight if you join us might be hard for you to get over what the actual facts are of an older text that's the scriptures. The scriptures didn't just magically appear 1,000 years before other people took those texts and tried to claim them for their own. They didn't just jump from one culture to another that took that. I mean, yeah, sharing information with your neighbors and migration and religions and that type of thing is kind of typical, um, where they'll take one myth and add a little something to it, or one culture will think a little bit differently than the next. Or but why is that? Who was taking something that was actually down pat and actually written down and then changed it to suit their own needs? That's what the proof needs to be gotten out there. And these scholars that don't want to dig down deep enough don't have the education to dig down deep enough, but then they want to have a voice in what those scriptures say. You cannot possibly even have a voice in the conversation with the experts in that area if you're not an expert in that area. And these people that are speaking Hebrew out there are not going to be those Greek experts where that text came from. And it's going to be hard for people that have been conditioned, especially like in Judaism or Zionism or, Catholic, the Zionist church that's run by the Dark Cabal. The people that just are singing Jesus loves me, and they're just as innocent as can be and have no clue. In their own scriptures, it says Christ cannot be found in the church. Can it get any more clear than that? Hello, just answer that one question and then tell me what we're looking at here. Doesn't mean everything is gone. Like God doesn't love anybody, or means the lies that are in those scriptures that have been twisted to keep people under the thumb of the dark cabal. And why they're doing it is for control over the people and their children. And this is what we're trying to stop. We need help doing it. If you're not going to listen to the information and share this stuff so people all over the world can help each other like that, that's what's going on. You either want to be in on the protection of the next generations, or you're just going to sit there twiddling your thumbs while other people do that. What does that make you? Are you a parent? Are you a brother, a sister, a daughter, a son? Do you care about anybody but yourself in the world? And how hard are you going to work for that protection of the ones that you do love? That's my question to people. You know, it's something to consider. Said we're all connected. Are we really? So if you're doing unto others like they're doing unto you, what are you doing to others? Or why? Would be a big question too. Or why aren't you doing it? That's what I would be asking myself. If I felt like I didn't have the time, or I didn't want to take the time to even share a little bit of this type of information, I mean, for me, my integrity, I would be asking myself, why? What's wrong inside myself that I don't care about who we say we're connected to? Is there always going to be that connection? That's what I would be asking myself, because that would put fear into my soul if I actually didn't care about people but pretended I did. Like even my family members, these people that you try and tell something new to. It's like, look, this is what um, computer programs now put into place, proving languages and mythology and migration and that type of thing, and we can pinpoint what happened to people and everything, and exactly what's going on in the world. And we either want to share it or we don't. So if you're on the we don't type of situation, who are you inside, and what do you think you deserve with your soul for what you're doing or not doing? That's what I'm thinking today with people, you know. So yesterday was a trip. Doug was sharing some stuff on Facebook. Then all of a sudden he got this security pop-up thing, and the next thing he knows, he can't get on Marketplace, where he does a lot of dealings with people. He was eventually, he kept sending me these codes to my Gmail so I could help him. And we don't have a mobile phone, so he couldn't use that as a um getting that done. So eventually he got into Google. He had to like redo these things so many times. And now today, well, last night they told him that it'd be like 24 hours. They wanted a list of people that he contacts in his email. And it's really none of their business, for like security measures, or to prove who he communicates with or whatever. I said, "Don't tell them nothing. They've already got mine. That's enough for them. If they can't use my email as a backup for him, then whatever." I said, "We can do one or two things. We either get another computer for you." I said, "And I'll help you do that, or whatever, and you have to set up a whole new account, or I'll just take all their software off and reinstall it, and then you can go back in and make a new account with instead of like Doug Hughes Douglas or whatever, or DW Weast or whatever, DW, you know." whatever. He could do that type of thing, but I would have to have taken all that. Well, after a while, I finally did get into his systems, and it took me a while to um, urge him onto the area that he has to use the blue stuff. I said, you have to go into Microsoft, not Google. I said, leave Google out of the situation and go into your Microsoft and your Outlook and use that email and that account and go to Microsoft. They're the ones that are on your head about this stuff. It's just all a computerized system game anyway. All to control people basically, but he's convinced that they're trying to stop a lot of the information that he was sharing on Facebook, which is a great possibility, or to even just keep him out of marketplace, because he spends a lot of his time on there, you know. So I don't know. But I think we got it squared around for today where he'll be able to get back in there anyway. Either way, he could have done it. But yeah, it took me a while. I said, well, first, we did like a disk cleanup and a system restore, and they still don't want to let him back in there. So, and then I said, well, you got to go to Microsoft and deal with them. So that's what he started doing. And then finally, he got his Google account reinstated, reset, and but Microsoft is still kind of jacking him around with not letting him on Facebook. He is so PO'd. He's like, um, just I'm done with them. So I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, he doesn't really care. He's got a lot of things he's doing. He's put what they call a flywheel on the front of a motor of a custom VW bug that we have, and that'll be back on the road shortly, probably at the end of the day, if not by tomorrow, for sure. So, and he just had to go get a gas filter for it. He had one on the shelf he thought was out there in the shop that he thought was for it, but it doesn't fit. So he went to get that today, and yeah, it's a cute little race car. So anyway, we were gonna trade it for a Corvette, but the guy who had the bet was uh, had it for sale for cash too. But when he got out here, he didn't want the bug anymore. He wanted our hot rod, our 37 um, gasser pickup. That's also a little race vehicle, a short wheelbase vehicle that Doug built. And when he saw that, he's like, he didn't want the bug anymore. He's like, what can I give you for that? And Doug said, well, it'd be like this, but that probably wouldn't even pry it out of my cold dead hands. But yeah, I told him, I said, I'll just probably put you in it and push you down the hill, cover him up with dirt. And there you go. Leave him in his hot rod, bury him in his hot rod. Why not? You know, nobody really gives a shit anyway. I mean, about him or his vehicle that he built. Yeah, people would want it, but they don't really give a shit what it took to do something like that. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I don't know. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I'm going to drop that link in there if you're over on there tonight and I'm there. I usually get there on time. It's he's going to be doing it at 8 p.m. Like I said, sometimes he has a tendency to be a little late. Um it's kind of his forte, I've noticed. And I can't really fault somebody that really is doing a lot of work academically with people and for people because he has classes that he teaches online for ancient Greek, plus doing these videos for his community like 2 or 3 times a week, and doing shows with other people and that type of thing. So yeah, he's pretty busy, plus his regular life, that type of thing. So um, yeah, got to take care of them academics out there, you know what I'm saying? Because other people aren't doing that, and he is the expert. We have to cherish and honor that in people and share their information if we want to protect the next generation. And if that's what you're all about too, you can start sharing some information too. It really wouldn't kill you. Just share like his video. Don't If you're worried about how other people are going to view you, say like if I swear and you can't let your mommy see that, or your husband or your wife or whatever, well, I'm sorry for you, you know, for real, because I would never, personally, nobody could ever make me like or dislike somebody else based on how somebody's going to view me. I don't care. But then I am pretty self-reliant and strong like that. I don't, if I worried about what my tomorrow was going to be based on somebody else, I wouldn't even be alive if that's the way I thought. And that's what people are doing to themselves too with their ignorance. Ignoring something isn't going to make it go away. It's just going to make it worse. And I would want to, and I am, on the cutting edge of bringing the truth to people all my life. If you want to be on the cutting edge of that actual truth or movement, then you should actually participate in that somehow, even in the smallest ways. Like you find some good information, hopefully you'll be sharing it with somebody, one other person at least. And if they tell one other person, then eventually this dark cabal is not going to be able to operate on this planet and hurt children anymore. And if you were one of them children, then it would be important to you. If you weren't, it could be one of yours, because even if you're of that bloodline, you're susceptible. They don't care. That's the bottom line. When you're dealing with an entity that does not care, uh, that's the bottom line. Those that do care and those that don't. There is that separation. So, all right, people. You have a really beautiful Sunday or Monday, wherever you're at. I love you. I appreciate you joining me. Hope to see you over on Babylon tonight. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.